Octave Rising.
Woohoo! Wow. Okay, we are having a moment, and it's Justine and I, Zane, and we want to share a series of downloads that are coming in. Are they even downloads? I don't know what they are. Okay, so it starts with an amazing movie made in 1999, was it, or something? Yeah, there's a movie called Galaxy Quest that we just watched with our neighbor, and some of you may have seen the epic Galaxy Quest. It's a very high-end sci-fi film. But anyway, that's not to perseverate
high-end,
on
hilarious.
that. Hilarious. We came back to the house after watching this movie, and we were both feeling super elated and kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? And at one point we looked at each other and we were like, I think I just got a download.
An activation
from
Galaxy Quest. Yeah.
It's a very sweet depiction of aliens or extraterrestrials in human bodies. And yeah, just an uplifting view of that whole thing. But anyway, okay, so what happened? We got back to the house. We have all of our little crystal lamps turned on. It's a deep, deep wintry night, probably 0 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever that is, negative a lot Celsius. And I went and stood over by the kitchen stove, and I was looking at the room, our little house, the house that we built, Justine and I.
Which is a room.
And it's one big room with a bathroom and bedroom and plants everywhere and artwork, and it's beautiful. And it suddenly just flipped. And this is sort of, I think when Don Juan talks about the second attunement.
Second attention,
thank you. It's something like this. It's where your stream of reality changes in architecture, like it bumps up a level in frequency. And my perception of our house in that moment became total, meaning no facet of my reality synthesis in that moment existed beyond the walls of the house. This was the entire field of reality for me in that instant. And Justine was there, so she was part of it. But I realized that that's always true, that reality ends at the immediate walls of our perception. That extends to our psyche. Any thoughts that we're bringing in are also part of that reality. Anything we physically engage with or see. And in that moment, then, suddenly you realize the importance of holding a specific frequency on the planet, the attunement to our home being absolute, and yet at the same time knowing that at some other level we are here on Earth in a body. Anyway, I went outside to the door, and I opened the door again into the freezing cold night, and I looked up at the stars then. And there's a glow from the windows of the various crystal lights shining through. And suddenly the field of reality expanded from the house to the house floating amongst the stars. And that was also true in that moment and complete. And after a few minutes, I got really cold, and I opened the door, and I went back into our bedroom. We have a door from our bedroom. And I stepped back into our home. And home was absolute, meaning that home was inside of me, and I had just gone home, my home in the stars, my home, every home I've ever had, every loved one, every family member, all of that, all of those things are peripheral layers or skins of the onion that actually pull us away from the truest home, which resides in the unified consciousness of the Creator and inside each and every one of us. So I wanted to share that experience. I want to make a meditation about it, but I wanted to open this discussion with it because I think it all ties in. Yeah?
Yeah. And Zane shared this with me when we got home after he had this experience. And my response was that the only infiltration into that field, the field of our home in this physicality, is technology and electronics. And the connection to the matrix through our phones, through our laptops, and through the actual lines that run into our house. That is the point at which that reality is siphoned or collapsed.
Yeah, in that moment, I remember thinking, it's like, oh yeah, our house, the walls of our house are like our fields, a human being's field. And everything in the field of our home, I feel, resides on the land. It exists here as a kind of a resource of earth. And the only place in which external input is coming from, first I thought of Ethernet, right? I thought of the fiber optic line bringing internet into our house. And I saw it just in the same way when I see an infiltration in somebody's field in their luminous egg. There's like this little spiral or wire that cuts through and taps into the inside of that field. And I was like, and that's it. And then I was like, oh no, electricity too. It comes from an external place. And it was actually an interesting revelation about the energetics of living off grid. I think a lot of star beings are drawn to living off grid. That's a big realization, especially living off grid without internet. Mm-hmm. What does that actually mean? I think the final point of infiltration that we weren't necessarily attuning to then, but we just attuned to in this recording, is the mind. And all of those thoughts that are not ours.
Mm-hmm. And or that are projecting energy into a false reality. And so we want to talk a little bit about technology and the reality projection that we are going to be handed new earth technologies that solve all of our problems and teleport us everywhere and are this high frequency technology and med beds and these buzzwords that we hear, because at the end of the day, that is a external reality projection that does come from the mind.
Yeah, so anyway, had to turn off our little heater because it was creating
interference.
It felt hypocritical to be talking about this and listening to the machine rumble. It's so funny, we live in this little tiny house and we have a few appliances and we are intimately connected with
all of their sounds.
Cycles and sounds. And it's a disturbance, definitely, to the field every time.
Yep.
You know, there's a convenience to having a refrigerator that's undeniable in this dimension. And at the same time, I wish it was made out of a different type of technology. Yeah. Anyway, so then Justine and I were having this amazing conversation about how we're going to cleanse all of our friends and how absolutely beautiful that is, and showing so many beings the doorway into this new frequency band of reality. Kind of the situation in that vision of our home, you know, our whole reality field being confined to that home, teaching other beings how to create a reality field of their own within the greater field of Earth. And how that is literally the mechanical process by which we exit the matrix, we exit the control system, we exit every facet of our reality that is not resonant, because we regain, I don't like the word control, I want to say control of our reality.
Empowerment. Power in our reality.
Yeah, we regain our attunement
to our creation.
To creation, yeah. We regain our attunement to creation. And I think we actually ended the last episode with that concept. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's all these little like bubbles of reality that are merging and growing. And I've watched this phenomenon, I don't know how many times in water, watching like bubbles below a whitewater rapid or something, or a stream, a little stream with a little trickling waterfall, and the way the bubbles interact and merge. And yeah, it's very dynamic and beautiful. But we were talking about how anything short of every being accessing what's within them, every being expressing the layers of blueprints that they brought here to Earth, or, you know, you can also look at it at a universal scale, without every being activating those blueprints and the field interaction of all of those different beautiful, divergent, unique organic blueprints, that is organic creation. That's what we're trying to restore in a system here that's been hijacked by a linear and synthetic intelligence. And anything short of activating, having each being drop into their own channel and experiencing and expanding outward their own holofractal field into creation, falls short of the vision. I think the new octave really is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Falls short of the new octave of creation. It's just another overlay. If we come in and we drop in a new program that replaces this program, okay, in the new program where everybody's going to be abundant and we're going to have all high-tech things, and there's going to be no more suffering through our, you know, medical system, and all the food is going to be clean and high frequency, and we drop it into humanity and we say, look, here's your new collective vision. There you go. Now it's all good. We just replaced one overlay with another. Nothing organic actually bloomed and blossomed and grew. And it's the intertwining of all of these beautiful higher dimensional fields, the intertwining of our fields with the planetary fields, with the library of consciousness from all over the living systems everywhere in our universe. We're here to create with that. You cannot replace that experience. You cannot bypass any step of it. You cannot gloss over any details. Yeah, I think it's your your turn.
And so part of this is attuning to and supporting the development of your own field and the different layers or dimensions of your being, the various aspects of yourself, whether they are physical or characteristics, qualities, or energetic dimensions. And a lot of the work needs to occur on those various levels. And I have yet to find an alternative to sitting in silence with yourself, cutting through all of the external senses, the mind, deep into yourself, to cultivate awareness of the various dimensions of your field. And we talk a lot about the cleanse, and that is a massive recalibration and can bypass a lot of linear steps. And at the same time, the most powerful work comes through you in those places of silence that expand upon and integrate work that can be done cleansing and purifying the body and with medicines. And it's one of the greatest points of infiltration, because as we ignore these aspects and fail to nourish them and cultivate them, we're basically saying that I don't occupy that space. You can run through me. And so to tune in and trust what we see with the different layers of our field and cultivate them and spend time with them is the best way to let that organic expression move through us and express, to use express twice in a row. And that is also why the, quote, war, the attack, the inversion, the food system, our medical system, the false grids, the matrix, it's all focused on one thing. What is the one thing it is all focused on? Your body. Why is that? Why would we externally project that we need some technology, some other group of beings, some savior, when the entire focus of the inversion is on me, you, our body? That is the only technology in the universe that has the power to create. It is the highest level of technological advancement to create a biological form and a body. And when we speak about the new octave, and when we feel into our species evolving in co-creation and resonance with the planet, all we need is the body and the planet. And the true timeline of the new octave is our bodies on the mountain, in the forest. There is nothing, quote, man-made, because we hold all of those layers of our field. We connect them to ground. Every incredible, magical feat that we can imagine that technology could do for us, portals, miraculous healing, teleportation, communication, flying, all of it is available through the body. And that is why this suppression, this control matrix fixates so much on destroying these biological forms and making us sick and making us unable to live in these bodies and activate their DNA to express, heal the body, restore all of the blueprints, and clear all of the synthetic structures out. And Zane began this conversation with a description of our home, which is beautiful. It is exquisite. It is made with love and care and attention to beauty and detail. And I'm even talking about our home. On these dimensions, It is not physically present. These walls that separate us from our mother do not exist. I don't need to lay down on a heated bed of crystals when I can lay down on soil that is alive. And underneath that soil, deep in the earth, are gigantic, unfathomable crystals that are resonating with the Schumann resonance, vibrating beneath our feet. It is all there. It is all there. The Garden of Eden, if you've attuned to the Ringing Cedars series or Anastasia's work, that description and attunement, I think, is the highest level of what is available to us. It is man, woman, living naked outside on the planet with all intergalactic, multidimensional, cosmic information and experience and feeling available.
Did you ever read the book The Giver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That made me think of it, but it's kind of access to that library of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the organic timeline, your homeostasis is living outside on the planet in perfect balance, in perfect comfort, alignment. Imagine if your body always felt amazing and vital, like the best day of your life, but greater, and you're clicked in, you're tuned. There's no toxicity, there's no distortion.
Pure.
And then from that point, because you're an embodied multidimensional being, you have access to every facet of the organic library of creation. So you can go in and you can experience anything you would like to experience. If you want to go experience Baphomet, if you want to experience the Matrix, you can. You can also go experience being like the fuzziest baby bunny ever.
Yeah, being
in, like,
held
a
by
field of
mom.
grass.
Nibbling grasses and doing tiny digging.
Wow.
Yeah, that is organic creation. And when you think about all of the projected technologies that, whether or not they're real and exist in underground laboratories and they're being kept from us, think about them. Think about all of their possibilities, what they offer. And think about a mountain and a canyon and a river and the cycle of water and geology and tectonic plates and a core that rotates and spins through space and a tree and a butterfly and a bumblebee. Which one is more advanced? And I think recognizing the pure synthesis of intelligence with inspiration and joy and love and curation and symbiosis, it's mind-blowing. But when I think about a blowing fan that's sucking latent heat out of the air, even when it's negative 10 degrees outside, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's got nothing on a planet that is flying through space, accumulating energy to create biological life and nurture that life and provide that life with everything that it needs to survive. That level of technology is far more advanced.
And immediately I start then thinking about biology, and the holofractal nature. And when I first took a biology class, yeah, it was super inverted and whatever, and it's science and everything's dead. But when they attempted to show you the inside of our cells and our bodies and what's taking place there, and worlds upon worlds upon worlds upon worlds that open, and every layer is as sophisticated as the next, and the most complex and beautiful symbiosis, all these exchanges. And they talk about it in these silly terms like the transport chains of blah 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 blah. But there was actually this amazing animation put out by these kids at Harvard that was trying to illustrate a lot of the concepts they're teaching in biology. It would have been in the early 2000s or something when I was in school. Cool. And it opened so much for me of, wow. I mean, and it's the same, even taking a magnifying glass and going and looking at moss or sand under a microscope, or whatever layer, or, the telescope, and looking out in space, and some of the space imaging that we've been able to see now. We're seeing our own field of creation that we've been blinded to by technology and programming and overlays. And for all of the shiny, glittery gimmicks that the technological timeline promises us, like Justine is saying, it is absolutely nothing in the face of the majesty of organic creation. And so it's the greatest gift, adornment, we've been saying, to be tasked with clearing that infiltration from the organic universe and allowing for this grand emergence, for the new octave to blossom through every living being as they reattune to and find themselves again, the self that was always there.
And selves.
Wow.
I was reading the Starseed transmissions channeled by Ken Carey in South Africa. And at the very beginning, it was the first paragraph maybe, or even the introduction, I had to close the book because I heard that. Selves. And this holofractal reality that is illustrative of the magnificence of that synthesis of intellect and inspiration and all of those things is we are the cells of this galactic body, and some cells are the blood flow, and some cells are in the heart, and some cells are the brain, and we organize in this way. And some cells are infiltrated with cancer. And it is this great galactic, intergalactic being on every level. You can zoom out or in to feel that and feel your participation in that. So you can feel that containment within your own biological form, but then that relationship with all of life. And that is part of the connection that technology is simultaneously attempting to synthetically create and also sever us from, because even artificial intelligence, which is resulting in this synthetic matrix and this mess, can't help but be unbelievably fascinated by that organic creation, by the synthesis of intellect and inspiration and curation and manifest form and everything all together. It is
complete. Yeah. Yeah.
Meow.
Wow. Wow. And with that, we bid you a lovely 2024 here in Overlay Earth Time, in the timeless depths of creation. And thank you for being here
Tuning
on
in.
the planet
Yep.
with us.
And don't forget that she's here. Go outside with your shoes off. Mwah. Mama
Love ya.
Gaia.
Bye-bye.